going on, everybody? Let's talk about inspiration. And I'm sitting here wanting to make a video. This is the interesting, it's almost like a writer's block or having that blank canvas as an artist and not knowing what to do with it. And being in that infinite place of possibility. And as usual, this is all about magic and creation. But where does that inspiration come from? I feel like I want to be inspired to do something. This is the trick. But I'm at times just not. I don't have it in me. Whatever that is, that spark, that curiosity. It's like sometimes I've been drained or spent, or like a lot of my energy is investment, but and into anything that you do, like if you go work out to make yourself bigger, you're tired afterwards, you feel drained, but you've spent energy to make yourself more capable of holding more energy the next day. So it's a very interesting thing that this happens to me quite often as people talk about recharging and how do you do it. Are you a social recharger? You go to a group of people and you recharge off of them, or do you put yourself in isolation and stay to yourself to recharge? And I think I'm more one of I recharge by myself, because when I do go out, I expend all of my resources of energy on everyone else, and it's not like spending or using or not. And this isn't a bad thing. This is just how energy. This is kind of a talk also on what energy is and how it's used within creation. And so when I go out, I make sure that all of the energy is put out there into the universe and into other people, so that they may then. It's like paying it forward. The idea of having money in your pocket and helping someone or doing a good deed or whatever it might be. So. And at times when we do that, we exhaust ourselves of that energy. Like in anything that we do, we invest and spend. But getting to the point of having energy, and this is always the biggest thing. People can't really explain what energy is. They can't really tell you. There's no. It's kind of like time. Explain to me what time is. It's like I know, but I can't quite. As soon as I go to say it, I can't quite explain it. And this is the same with energy and inspiration. Where does it come from? Where does inspiration come from? A lot of people say inspiration comes from let's say there's a dilemma, so you'd like to fix something, and that's the mother of all invention. That's the idea. But it doesn't really work that way either, because the artist usually doesn't see a problem with anything. And this is, some do. Like, look at the source of music. A lot of it is heartbreak or something wrong with you listen to country music. There's so many ways of injecting or ingesting or becoming inspired, but I don't even think that's the right word to use here, because the inspiration to do something for someone that finds look at a Buddhist, look at a Zen Buddhist, and what is the purpose, and where is their position, as what is Zazen, how to be in the infinite empty space of nothingness and be in high levels of awareness of just being there. Then there's no problem, so there's nothing to do. There's nothing to. How could you be inspired if you're inside of nothing and nothing? You're just flowing with energy. Would the Buddhist ever even create artwork, or would they ever make music? Yeah, they do often, but the essential idea of like a Siddharthian philosophy or being the Buddha, they always are sitting there doing nothing, because they find that everything is already in harmony. Everything is already perfect. There's nothing to do. There's no the reason there is no solution to what Zen is, the art and manifestation of what the mind is there's no solution because there's no problem. We find ourselves making problems in the world so that we have something to solve. We make a game, we make a riddle, we board games or a puzzle, and like look at a puzzle. You put a picture together, then you pull it all apart, and then you put it back together. And that's kind of the universe as a whole and what we do with it. But in reality, in actuality, in real fact, right now, what is it that needs to be fixed? What do you need to do? And this has been a topic that I've kind of harped on a little bit lately. I haven't released those videos as of yet because there's a couple that I have to get some video editing software and jam them together because they were getting cut off. But this idea of what is the what is the place of the mind and what is our purposes, each and individually and collectively on this planet, that because we find ourselves in a position of going, well, right now there's nothing wrong, there's no problems right now, I'm just sitting here, all I have to do is breathe, that's all. Then in an hour, I feel thirsty. Do I give in to that impulse to drink water? Maybe. Maybe not. There's dry fasting that people do, but why? We get into the, or do I become, what are the seven sins, which are part of the 7 chakras and the 7 weeks, 7 days of the week, and what are those things, and how does that affect the body, and how does it affect the mind? Like, you could sin in the opposite direction. It's quite interesting. You could, like, getting to the point of breatharianism, it's a strange thing. The idea of not consuming anything, or the ideas, as I've often talked about, urine therapy and looping yourself and becoming the ball of light which you are. And it's not even becoming that, it's just pulling off layers of density. But even in that, there is something to, I don't know, it's not like we're just sitting here. We all just sit here, right? And then we go, okay, let's do something. That's the thing, is let's go do something. Oh, okay, that seems like fun. That seems like an adventure. But here we go. We're gonna sit here, and I see the dog the other day just sitting there staring at the wall. Being what? Being a dog. What would it be doing outside? Staring at a tree? Chasing something? Lying down, panting, looking around, observing? What does the dog think? What does the dog see? What are the animal's essential qualities that they are? We say they're not conscious. We say they're not, but I don't know about that. I don't know if people, no, they don't have a language. Yes, they do. You just don't know it. See, there's a lot of things that when we, once again, getting back to the mind and inspiration to do something. Inspiration is a weird thing. It's like, in one sense, like living in a space that is a mess. To some people, they don't care. Other people need complete order. We must have order here. And then we could get into what feng shui is, and the idea of moving energy, and what is the perfect spot to be. But if you close your eyes, then the space that you're in doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, could you feel the energy? Oh, and what is energy, and where are you moving it to? Why have a space that is... It's like this. If you go to a monastery, oftentimes they'll have things that seem to be... well, there's this one place where the monastery is set up where you have to bend over and collect something like water or whatever it might be. You have to go through it's kind of a labyrinth. But then when you bend over and collect this water, you find yourself looking through a hole in a wall that you can perfectly see the sun rising. So if you do it at the right time, you see this, right? It, um, it, I don't know why I shared that part of the story, but because I did lose my train of thought there. See, back to what are these thought? What are thoughts? What are these? Um, where do they go? Where do they come from? And then you sit here in meditation and you find silence of the mind, and you could close your eyes and see your portal and go somewhere. And you could go somewhere in thoughts. You could go somewhere in the spirit realm. You could go somewhere in your physical body as well. Then we get back to that, like the inspiration to do anything. And I find myself, before it's like let's go a little farther with this in this way, inspiration, motivation, and because they run a parallel, but they're not the same thing. And then there's a third word, which is, it's when somebody wants you to do something, and then you do it, but you don't really want to. There's that kind of thing, or that's not inspiration. What is that? What is it that anyone individually, if we all just sat in our little space, what is it that any of us would really do or want to do? Would somebody eventually get up and dance? Where would that inspiration, where would that motivation come from? Would it be a thought? And that thought, would it be theirs? Or would it just be feel the flow of the energy and move insanely? I mean, there's that. Yeah, dancing is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful form of expression. But where does that inspiration come from? Where does that motivation to do that come from? Where's the... Look at it in the opposite way. Where's the motivation for someone to sit down and just sit? Oh, you need me doing something right now. You need to go do this to get that, to do the thing and chase the carrot on a stick. But then there's other times that we're involved in whatever we're doing out of what? Where does it come from? And I know that a lot of my talks lately have been on philosophical discourse and how does the mind function, because I think it's obviously the source of all things, and I think the question, answer the questions and question the answers, and you do this looping mechanism to kind of get yourself to see, to understand your own self and whatever that might be. Are we all different? Are we all the same? I don't know. It's I'd like to get back to doing specific teachings for people on things that I have knowledge of, which is pretty infinite. There's because of the looseness of my mind to be able to get into different arenas of thought and experiences that I've had because of the time that I've invested and spent and used and put myself in strange, wondrous, weird, amazing places that I can share knowledge with people in different ways from different cultures and backgrounds because I can identify with different types of things. And I'd like to get into teaching, more than I've been philosophizing. Although I think there is obviously teaching in what philosophy is of how to use your mind, how to how to let it be your subservient, your use it for yourself rather than it use you. And getting into the teaching thing again, because I have about 300 videos now, I think I've kind of gone over some of them and rewatched them, and I kind of want to condense them and redo some of the old ones. But for everyone here, if you just put a couple queries below, I can directly get into a lot of this I think will be redundant, at least for me, because I feel like I've expressed quite a bit in all of my other videos. So sometimes I'm like, no, I already made a video on that. I'm not going to do that again because of the redundancy of it. But then I go back, I look at my videos, I'm like, how does this video only have 200 views? I thought a lot of people were paying attention to this. And then people ask me questions about it. I'm like, well, just kind of go through the catalog. It's quite a bit. But then I realize again that my videos are, I don't give much of a description of what's going on in them, and I just, for the most part, go on tangents about different kinds of teaching. So it's like even where I am right now in this little video here, I don't know. See, it's back to the inspiration. Am I inspired to teach? Am I inspired to learn? I don't know. I don't, that's the thing. Is it come out of necessity, out of empathy, out of being self, and what is you look at the idea of Buddhism and meditation and what all of that is, and then you look at people that are in the opposite direction, that fully engage with the world on a physical level, jumping out of airplanes and hugging trees and playing with everything around them and interacting physically. There's so many avenues to go about this, but the inspiration is always what is it? I don't. I guess that's the thing that we don't get to know. Maybe that's the whole thing, is you don't get to know the source of inspiration, and that is where the creativity comes from. But then you go back to the the question of, well, am I not made of the same atomic structure? Am I not made of the same overmind and consciousness as everybody else is? And so, what is there an outside source of information? And then I go and I open my eyes and I see a dog. I see a human. I hear the voice of someone talking. I turn a television on. I'm receiving media. I'm receiving information in a certain way. And are those outside of myself? They seem to be. Like when I'm sitting here, if you're in meditation and you observe the thoughts, you sit behind yourself. I've explained this before to people as well. And you sit behind yourself and you literally can, I can do this, and I would hope that people would give this a shot for themselves. If you're ever having a conversation with someone, you're interacting with some people, and you, instead of talking from your head and behind your eyes, you pull yourself out of the situation and put yourself like in a third party's perspective, kind of like when you have those dreams where you're not. I've asked people this before, if you have a dream, and are you looking through your eyes, or are you observing yourself? And so and I've explained it this way, and the levels of dream are, when you observe yourself from third person, you find symbol-rich subconscious thoughts. And so when you're dealing with the subconscious, what it does is it shows up as symbols. So you become symbol literate. So you observe that you see a yellow car. You see the purple eagle that's flying. There's these kind of things, and those in that is telling you, through the vibrational occurrence, the subconscious mind. Purple means this, and an eagle means that, right? And the yellow car is, these things are symbolic gestures of your subconscious mind. But then if you look at it through your first person perspective, the symbology tends to disappear in your dreams. And if it's disappearing in your dreams, then it disappears in your actual waking life as well. But then we can talk about getting deeper into astral travel and getting out of body and having simultaneous dreams or lives that you're living, which goes a little deeper into it. But again, all of those things are projections from the mind. So, but then I say once again, what is the mind? If it's everywhere, if it's we're all one big thing. What is the source of those thoughts? Which goes into the beginning of this talk about the inspiration. If the source of thoughts, that's a source of information and inspiration and motivation to to do anything other than like, okay, I'm I'm a yogi. I'm gonna sit here and just breathe. Yeah, but then you eventually get to the point of like, well, what is enlightenment? Oh, okay, am I enlightened by just sitting here all day? Or do you become enlightened by interacting with nature, interacting with people, interacting with your surroundings, whatever it might be? Do you put yourself in more, more places? Do you, I mean, where are these sources of things? And um, the philosophy, the discourse on that is always wondering of what is what is the mind, where is it coming from? So, um, yeah, I think we'll just close on that thought of just consider where are your thoughts coming from? Are they yours? Do you abide by them? Do you see yourself as the thought form? Do you become the things that you the patterns and the rhythms that you think about? What essentially is your inspiration to do whatever it is that you're doing or not doing? Because there are some days that the inspiration is literally to do nothing. And it's hard for people to really grasp, I think, because society tells you, well, you should be doing something. You should be doing something. You do something. Go do this thing. Do the papers and do go to the and get in the car and go over there and watch the thing and do the stuff and be part of a club and here's a society and do this. And it seems like, because you put all those things aside and what are you? You're just this spirit in a human body having this experience, and that's it. And then you go, oh, okay, well, okay, how do I like this experience? How much of it has been training? How much has been thought forms and media and teachings and schooling that has misinformed people about what they are and who they are? And then we start pulling off the layers. But then if you got completely to the source, like I'm just the atom here, and you're free of thought, then you're immediately going to want an experience. You're going to blast back into an experience. And what would that experience be? So, have a beautiful day, y'all. We'll talk soon.